Purdue and Penn State about to get underway here at our weekend series in West Lafayette. Weekend number 2 of conference play here in the Big Ten. We've had to wait about 4 hours for the temperature to warm up. Patrick Smith Friday, was red hot on the mound. 7 innings, 9 strikeouts. As Purdue won game 1, 1-0 in a pitcher's duel. Dante Biase was great for Penn State, but it was Owen Jansen, that man right there, who there you see him losing a tooth after getting plunked in the mouth by a pitch, but he drove in the only run of the day, had a double that brought in Zach Fashion, and through the mist and fog, Purdue was able to hold on to a 1-0 victory, their 3rd conference win of the season. And now they look to sweep Penn State here at home. Penn State looking for their 1st conference victory of the season. As we welcome you in to our BTN to Go broadcast, Mike Folta here along with Bruce Stevens. Penn State struggling, Bruce, here early in conference play. Purdue trying to maintain momentum.
And definitely, Mike, that's probably one of the biggest reasons why this doubleheader is still going to be played. Like you said, Purdue starting off strong with a 3-1 in conference play, and then Penn State, they're 14-7 on the season, so which isn't that bad, but 0-4 in conference play. So definitely, they're going to want to get these games in. You just look to improve their record.
We are still looking at a doubleheader, by the way, despite this game time being moved back almost 4 hours. As there you see the Penn State batting order. It'll be Homer, Bowersox, and Kramer to lead things off for the Nittany Lions against the starter on the hill for Purdue and Andrew Baum. Baum, a redshirt sophomore, 6'1", 230 pounds out of Fishers, Indiana. Saw a decent amount of action last year. An academic All-Big Ten selection. And here he is for Purdue. Gavin Homer to lead things off for Penn State. Homer had a great day Friday at the plate against Purdue. One of the few Nittany Lions who can claim that. He was 2 for 3 with a walk, a double, and a triple. And he's ahead in the count 2-0 to Baum. Our start time was delayed about 4 hours. Originally, we were looking at a 1 o'clock start time for our doubleheader here today, and then it was moved up to 12 as Homer sends one back deep towards left center. Hunter able to track it down and make the catch at the warning track, as Gavin Homer doesn't seem to have missed a step over the day off yesterday. Still got some pop, that time not quite enough.
And Hunter really had to work to get that ball. He had to run a pretty good distance. It looked like it was right in the middle of left and center field, so really it was up to either one of them to get it, and he got it.
Hunter, a lot of speed out in center field, as you'd imagine. Has been patrolling those waters out in center for a couple years now. Started all 59 games in center last year with Purdue. And as Bowersox steps up. And he ropes one towards center. This one's going to drop. Hunter can't get there in time, and that is a single for Jordan Bowersox. And as Penn State comes out swinging. Man on first and no outs for Chris Kramer.
Second baseman number 23, Chris Kramer.
Kramer with a forgettable day on Friday against Patrick Smith and Purdue. 0 for 3 with a walk, a flyout, and 2 strikeouts. Andrew Baum, it seems, having a little bit of trouble finding the strike zone early in counts to these Penn State hitters. It's just below 30 degrees out on the field, or at least that's what it feels like. The thermometer might read a little bit higher, but once you factor in wind chill and other factors, it's a little bit chillier, and that's what we had to wait for to start game 1 of our doubleheader and game 2 of the series. Of course, yesterday we had snow and hail here in West Lafayette. It's not March in Indiana without a couple of days like that.
That good old Indiana weather.
So unpredictable. Fascia keeps it in front, but Bowersox able to get a nice read on that pitch in the dirt and make it up to second. So Penn State with a man in scoring position with one down. It's a couple of pitches now that have got away from Andrew Baum. Two. I mentioned that Baum saw a decent amount of action last year with the Boilers. 12 appearances. Ended up making 5 starts with Purdue last season. Through 30 innings, struck out 29. He was effective, especially in some of those midweek games. 2-2 misses low and away. Baum was instrumental in a Purdue victory over Oral Roberts here at Alexander last year. A young arm that Coach Wazikowski and Purdue came to depend on more and more as the season wore on. 1 out, Bauer Sox on second. Payoff pitch from the righty. And Andrew Baum drops Chris Kramer at the plate. There's 2 down. First strikeout of the day for Andrew Baum as he sends Kramer back to the dugout to bring up Parker Hendershot.
First baseman number 9, Parker Hendershot.
Big strikeout there for Baum after giving up a couple of solid contacts. A fly out to Gavin Homer that made it all the way back to the warning track in left center, and then that hard hit single by Jordan Bauer Sox. Hendershot takes a ball. Parker Hendershot 1 for 4 in Friday's game against Purdue. A single, a fly out, and 2 strikeouts. Penn State struck out 12 times in that 1-0 loss to Patrick Smith and Purdue. The 1-0. Right down the middle. That one split the plate in half. And now it's a 1-1 count. Baum, a hard-throwing righty. Had Tommy John surgery after his senior year. Was unable to pitch his senior year in high school, but was able to help out his team, catching behind the plate. Redshirted his first year at Purdue and contributed his sophomore year and redshirt freshman year. Now a redshirt sophomore. Two outs. Jordan Bauer Sox on second after his single. The 2-1. Up in the air to playable shallow right. Howe is back and he makes the catch as Andrew Baum works through the top of the first inning. Purdue to the plate when we return here on BTN to Go. Purdue's first at-bats here in the bottom of the first inning at Alexander. Game 2 of our series, game 1 of our hopeful doubleheader, as there you see the conditions that push the start time here on Sunday afternoon back about 4 hours, as play could not start until the temperature on the field felt like 28 degrees or better, so that's including wind chill. As there you see the Purdue batting order. It'll be Hunter, Jansen, and Cole Mckenzie. The 1-2-3 to start things off against Eric Mock for Penn State. Mock for the Nittany Lions, a redshirt junior, native of Shillington, Pennsylvania. 6'2", 220. So far on the year, a 2-1 record and a 3.00 ERA. He has missed a couple of starts this season. This is his 5th start of the year. And through 24 innings pitched, he has struck out 26 and only walked 6 batters. First pitch to Hunter outside. Opponents have only been able to muster up a 174 batting average against Mock so far this year. So Hunter and company have their work cut out for them. Big swing from Skylar Hunter, but it's 1-1. Soft ground ball. Hendershot is there. Gloves it himself and steps on the bag as Skylar Hunter is retired. There's one down for Owen Jansen.
The DH number 1, Owen Jansen.
And Mike, going back to that weather that we talked about before, just on the defensive end, wouldn't be surprised if we saw a couple drop balls or wonky pitches, wonky throws from either team. And then the offensive end, just being able to run. I mean, it's 30 degrees outside. So
Absolutely. And you and I were watching infield earlier in the day when these two teams were taking the field, and we noticed a number of drops and bobbles out there in the field. We thought that warm-ups for both teams looked a little suspect.
Most definitely. The Penn State team also went in, a couple of them went into the softball facilities just to stay warm. They're over in the press box. So definitely, just trying to get used to this cold and kind of just make the least amount of mistakes as they can.
That's a good point. These two teams were out on the field. They were warming up. They took infield. They took outfield. But then both teams came in after both sides realized that it was going to be a long delay before the weather was warm enough to get out and play. And like you said, Penn State headed over to Bittinger Stadium next door, and both teams were inside for a couple of hours before coming out right before the start of the game. So kind of an awkward transition from warming up to cooling back down and then warming back up again as Owen Jansen, the hero from Friday for Purdue, goes down swinging, and Eric Mock has his first strikeout of the day. A quick 2 outs for Cole Mckenzie.
Right fielder number 32, Cole Mckenzie.
Mckenzie was hitless in the game against Penn State back on Friday. 0 for 4. Struck out twice. Struck out twice against the lefty Dante Biazzi. And then grounded out to second and grounded into a fielder's choice. And it's 1-1.
I know from the first game of the season they told me that everything got changed.
Fastball on the inside half. Nice spot there from Eric Mock, and Cole Mckenzie down in the count 1-2. Eric Mock trying to work a clean bottom of the first for Penn State, a team seeking its first conference victory. Swung on and missed. Mock has 2 strikeouts as he fans Mckenzie to end the first inning. Purdue in the field and Penn State to the plate. Here in just a bit on BTN to go. Shea Sabranti, Connor Kleeman, and Ryan Sloniger. The 5, 6, 7 of the Penn State lineup up here in the top of the second against Andrew Baum and Purdue. Baum looked like he might get knocked around a little bit in that first inning after Gavin Homer pushed one back to the warning track, and then Jordan Bowersox singled into center, but Baum settled in nicely to strike out Chris Kramer and then pop out Parker Hendershot. And now he's got Shea Sabranti down 0-2. Sabranti did not play Friday against Purdue. A senior out of Oakley, California. Originally an Arizona commit, but then had ACL surgery before his freshman year, transferred to San Joaquin Delta College, and now plays for Penn State as he barely got a piece of that one to stay alive. Just looked like it got the tip of the bat. 1-2 as Baum looking for his second strikeout of the day. Sabranti on the year only 1 for 16 at the plate. And Baum gets his second K. Strikes out Sabranti. And there's one down here in the second inning. Now it's Connor Kleeman. Righty on righty matchup. Kleeman had 3 strikeouts on Friday against Purdue. Was also hit by a pitch, though, so he did find his way on at least once. But other than that, a forgettable day at the plate for Kleeman. High and in. 2 balls and no strikes. Baum so far on the year with Purdue, a 5.60 ERA and an 0-3 record through 6 starts. Gives that one down the middle to Kleeman, and it's 2-1. Through 27 1/3 innings, 31 strikeouts for Andrew Baum, 17 walks. And that off-speed pitch might have fooled Connor Kleeman. Now it's 2-2. Cue shot off the end of the bat. Baum fielding his position onto first for the second out of the inning. And as Kleeman is retired to bring up the senior catcher Ryan Sloniger for Penn State.
Catcher number 11, Ryan Skylar.
2 outs. And a lefty at the plate in Sloniger. Nice breaking ball there from Andrew Baum. It's 0-1. Sloniger struggling a bit on the season with Penn State. Came into this weekend only hitting .200 right at that Mendoza line. Has himself a 1-1 count here. We mentioned it Friday as well, but Sloniger led the team last year with a .306 average, 31 RBIs, had 5 homers. It's been a different story this year for the senior catcher. But he's certainly a bat in this Penn State lineup that Coach Rob Cooper knows if he gets hot, the rest of the lineup could follow suit. Check swing, on down to third, and he did indeed go around, says our third base umpire Daniel Jimenez, so it's 2-2. Baum trying to get out of the second. The 2-2. Swung on and missed. Andrew Baum with another strikeout. He's got 3 on the day. The Boilers to the plate. And we come back for the bottom of the second inning on BTN to go. Eric Mock retired Purdue in order back in the first inning. Zach Fascia will try and change that trend here in the bottom of the second. It'll be Fascia, Everts, and Ryan Howe. 4, 5, 6 of the Purdue batting lineup is there. You see Eric Mock's numbers on the year. Part of a very impressive pitching staff at Penn State. Nittany Lions not the greatest hitting team, but between Bailey Dees, Eric Mock, and Dante Biazzi, 3 quality starters. As Mock fools the cleanup man for Purdue, Zach Fascia, to make it 0-1.
And by going back to what you said about Penn State not being a great hitting team, when you look at the batting orders for both of these teams, there's only 3 people that's hitting over 300.
There's a chopper to the right side. Penn State with the shift on, and that was the shortstop, Conlon Hughes, who came over to make that play on the right side of the infield as Coach Cooper and Penn State were playing the pole on the left-handed hitting Zach Fascia.
First baseman number 18, Nick
Well, Bruce, you said it. 3 players combined hitting above 300. 2 teams that don't hit well at the plate. That certainly showed Friday in the 1-0 pitchers duel. We'll see if we get a defensive game again here today as Everts grounds one towards Hughes again. And Conlon Hughes, 2 for 2 here in the bottom of the second inning, as Everts is retired to bring up Ryan Howe.
Well, like you said, Friday was more of a defensive game, and when you have, somebody like Patrick Smith who had 9 strikeouts, and then you, like we said, have only 3 combined players out there today who's hitting above 300. 2 teams compare it like that probably are. It's always going to be a defensive game.
Ryan Howe at the plate. Howe, a freshman who has earned his playing time due to his defensive prowess. Solid middle infielder over at second out of Illinois. One from Mock with 2 outs. Bit low there, 2 balls and 1 strike. Ryan Howe had 3 hits back on Friday. 3 singles. 1 was an infield single, but the other 2 were base knocks to left and to right. He was 3 for 4. As there's a high bouncing ball down the third base line. Kleeman coming in, but can't make the play in time. As Ryan Howe beats out the throw and has himself another hit. That's 4 hits for Ryan Howe already in this Penn State series.
And Mike, that goes back to what we said at the beginning about the weather coming, just playing a part in this game. We have the replay, but the third baseman from Penn State looked like he kind of bobbled the ball a little bit before he could get the throw off, and that could have been the difference between the out and the safe.
Especially on one of those plays where it's so bang, bang, any sort of delay with cold hands or anything like that could be the difference between out number 3 and a runner on first with 2 down. Johnny Sage to the plate now for Purdue. Sage, a junior college transfer. He had 1 at-bat Friday when he subbed in for Charlie Nasuti. Bunted 1 back to the pitcher to move a runner over. So Howe, the first base runner of the game for Purdue. As Mock just misses there at the knees of Johnny Sage. 1 ball and 1 strike. Sage, a West Coaster out of Spokane, Washington. Check swing there from Johnny Sage. He was fooled as Eric Mock had him confused with a little bit of off speed. Now let's see if Mock can pull the string on Sage again. One, 2 from the righty. In the dirt, and Howe takes off to swipe second. Ryan Howe getting a great read at that ball in the dirt in front of Ryan Sloniger, who never had a chance at Howe at second base. So now a runner up in scoring position for Johnny Sage here with 2 outs. Again, a shift on for Penn State with 3 infielders over on the right side. And Sage pulls that foul. We saw a number of defensive shifts on Friday employed by Coach Rob Cooper in Penn State. And they were fairly effective for the most part. Many times, Conlon Hughes, the shortstop, playing just to the right of second base. They used it on Fascia. They've used it on Skylar Hunter. 2-2 off speed. Not from Eric Mock that time. And now it's a full count to Johnny Sage, trying to battle back after being down 1-2. Powers on deck for Purdue. Payoff pitch from Mock. Popped up and out of play behind home.
Let's go how you're scoring here.
Try the 3-2 again. Mock misses inside. A full count walk to Johnny Sage. Tough at bat there by the left fielder for Purdue, Sage. And now it brings up Tyler Powers with 2 outs. Powers, another player who had a tough day at the plate on Friday. A strikeout. He bunted into a double play when he popped up a bunt that was caught by the catcher Ryan Sloniger. And then Powers bunted again and flew out, or lined out rather, to the shortstop. An 0-for-4 day for Tyler Powers, with 2 bunt attempts, and on neither one was he able to reach. One of them came with runners on and 2 outs. Here he is with 2 outs and 2 men on. 1-0. Grounded towards Kleeman, who steps on the bag at third for out number 3. So Eric Mock able to work out of a bit of trouble in the second inning. Penn State to the plate when we come back for the top of 3 here on BTN to go. No score here on BTN to go as Purdue and Penn State go at it. Conference weekend number 2. Conlon Hughes at the plate for Penn State. Purdue won game 1 back on Friday. This is game 1 of our doubleheader here at Alexander and game 2 of the series. We're hoping to squeeze in game 3 right after this one, but it's going to be close. The 1-0 to Hughes, up and in from Andrew Baum. Conlon Hughes' first at-bat of the day. He was 0 for 3 back on Friday. The 2-0 is slammed high in the air down the line. Powers is near the wall and drifts back towards play to make the catch. Tyler Powers having to deal with a lot of spin on that ball, tracking it all over foul territory in front of his own dugout, but makes the catch for out number 1.
Right fielder number 14, Hippenhammer.
Now it's Mac Hippenhammer at the plate for Penn State. Hippenhammer, a two-way guy. Baseball player in the spring and a football player in the fall, and a base hitter in the first inning as he knocks one right back up the middle to reach for the first time today and for the first time this series.
Mac Hippenhammer being actually from the same city as me. Like you said, he plays baseball and football at Penn State, but he was a 3-sport guy in high school. Also played basketball too. He was a pretty solid athlete all the way around. I mean, obviously,
Yeah, slacker. Right.
he was one of those guys where you knew what his best sport was, and so you didn't know if he was going to continue out, with his senior years of playing the other 2 that he really loved too. Because, a lot of kids, they don't want to end up getting hurt.
Right. Well, what's his best sport? Now that he plays football and baseball, he's a baseball star here for Penn State.
That's also a question.
But coming out of high school, he was the 5th best prospect according to Rivals.com. That's at least what my notes have in front of me. So he was a sought-after prospect coming out of the state of Indiana.
Yep, helped the Snyder Panthers to a baseball sectional title and football state title. It's pretty solid. He's all right.
That's a decent career. With the 9-hole hitter on first, it's Gavin Homer at the plate. Homer blasted one deep to the track in left center, his first at bat off of Andrew Baum, but fortunately for Baum and Purdue, Skylar Hunter was able to range over and make the catch. Off speed as off goes Hippenhammer. The throw from Fascia in time. They got him. Hippenhammer with a lot of speed on that one. But Fascia with an even better arm to throw out the wide receiver at second base. 2 outs now and clear base paths for Gavin Homer. 12-6 there from Andrew Baum, but he couldn't catch the eye of Gavin Homer, and it's 2-1. Chopper towards Powers at third, but this is a foul ball, and Homer is down at home plate. And he is writhing in pain. Looked like he fouled that off of his foot, possibly. And Gavin Homer in some serious discomfort as the training staff attends to him at home.
Looked like it might have hit him in the knee there or something.
Yeah, it seems to be what they're attending to. A scary moment for sure as Homer down on the turf, a junior from Battle Creek, Michigan. He's been around the block as far as different schools, playing at McHenry Community College as a freshman and then Kellogg Community College before finally making it to the Division I level this year with Penn State, and looks like he's going to try and walk this off. I'm not sure if they'll let him run the bases, and he's going to try to. And it's Gavin Homer trying to shake off the willies after fouling one off his foot. Excuse me, he wouldn't be running the bases rather, but still at the plate, as that was a foul ball. And Gavin Homer seems to be okay, so he'll step back in. We saw on Friday Owen Jansen run the bases after he lost a tooth. But he got hit in the mouth by a pitch. And now Gavin Homer toughing it out here against Andrew Baum. 2-2 count with 2 outs. Line drive through the infield. Gavin Homer, after all that pain at home plate, able to lace one up right past the shortstop, Evan Albrecht, and earn his way on with 2 outs.
And that just shows you how important these next 2 games are for both of these teams. Like you said, Owens got hit and lost a tooth on Friday, and then we just saw the Penn State player go down after fouling one off of his possibly knee or foot. But like we said, both of these teams wanting to start off this conference play on a good note. Penn State's, like we mentioned before, 0-4, and the Boilermakers actually starting off strong with a 3-1 record right now.
Bauer Sox squares but pulls back 1-0. You wonder if Homer will be full speed around the bases here. After he fouled it off of his leg or knee, it was tough to see. But it was easy to see that he was in a lot of pain at home plate as he dropped like a sack of potatoes and they brought the training staff out. But now it's 1-1 to Bauer Sox, who is 1 for 1 today with a single. One ball and 1 strike here to Jordan Bauer Sox. One of the senior leaders on this team, Florida native. the leading hitter on the club at .311 on the season. That was entering this weekend. Andrew Baum paying a lot of attention to the hobbled Gavin Homer over there at first. One to Bauer Sox. Looked like an off-speed pitch that just got the outside edge. Good location by Andrew Baum, and now he's ahead in the count. The 1-2 and a pitch out. Fascia was eyeing Gavin Homer over there at first, thinking about a back pick and making sure that Homer wasn't going to try and make it up to second on an anticipated breaking ball. Fastball grounded to the right side. Howe able to get over in time and throw out Bauer Sox at first to end the Penn State threat in the third inning. Evan Albrecht to lead off the bottom of the third for Purdue, as we have no score between the Boilermakers and Nittany Lions here in the bottom of three. There you saw Gavin Homer last half inning. Looked like he took that one from the bat to the ankle. Well, he got right back up and lined a single to center field after that off of Andrew Baum. Penn State unable to score in that inning, but the resiliency of Homer on display. As Albrecht takes strike one. Albrecht 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Rather 0 for 1. He did have a sacrifice bunt to move runners over in the game against Penn State on Friday. And that pitch got up and in and looked like it got a piece of our home plate umpire, Tim Farwig. And he tries to wave off any assistance, just going to give himself a little breather. Farwig seems to be okay, laughing it off with the catcher, Ryan Sloniger. Farwig seems to be okay. It's 1 ball and 1 strike to Albrecht. We've had a couple of incidents here this series now, with Jansen losing a tooth, and then Homer going down last half inning like he did, and now even our officiators are in a bit of trouble as that one got up and in on him.
I think that 30-degree weather is possibly starting to get to him.
And that too. That ball's going to sting a little bit more, wouldn't you think, in cold weather like this?
Definitely going to leave a mark too.
One, 2 to Albrecht from Eric Mock, and Mock strikes out Albrecht. 1 out. That is Eric Mock's third strikeout rather, of the day. And up comes Skylar Hunter with 1 down. Mock did not play in 2016 due to injuries, but played in each of the last couple of years. Last season, not his best statistically. A 2-1 record, 5.97 ERA through 4 starts. 1-0 to Skylar Hunter. Just misses out. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mock had an outstanding effort, almost a complete game earlier this year against Fairfield back on February 25th. Hunter in the air to right field. Hippenhammer shielding the sun and makes the catch for the second out. But back against Fairfield, Mock went 8 2/3, only allowed 4 hits, gave up 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. Got pulled in the 9th. That was a series that Penn State won handily. Swept Fairfield, and before that, Monmouth, when the Nittany Lions opened the season 6-0. Owen Jansen takes strike one. He's 0 for 1 with a strikeout so far. In his last outing, Mock went 3 1/3, giving up 8 hits and 5 earned runs against Minnesota last weekend. He got knocked around a little bit. Jansen down 0-2. That was the second game on Sunday, so the last game of the series between Minnesota and Penn State. This is the second Sunday doubleheader that Penn State has had in the last week. Assuming we get to Game 3 of the series later this evening. The 0-2 to Jansen. Just misses across the shoelaces. Mock gave up 2 home runs and 5 earned runs in that 3 1/3 against the Golden Gophers back on last Sunday. 1-2 to Jansen here. Gets a piece of Owen Jansen. Barely got him right near the belt. So Owen Jansen aboard with 2 down for Cole Mckenzie. Second time this series that Jansen has been hit by a pitch, although I'm sure that one hurts significantly less than the one on Friday, the one that knocked his tooth out.
Starting to think he might be a ball magnet.
We'll see. He is a Canadian, so that toothy grin fits his, I guess you could say, nation stereotype with the hockey players, right? One-0 to Mckenzie. Mckenzie fouls that one back into the glove of Sloniger. 1-1. We have a fair amount of wind here at Alexander Field, blowing from left to right across the diamond. That's one of the reasons why it was so cold earlier and why it pushed our start time back as long as it did. 1-1 from Mock. High fastball, and Mckenzie cut right through it. We did have a reasonable crowd earlier, but many of them have bailed after the time change. Still have a couple of fans hanging around. Stuck out the delay.
Those are some dedicated fans down there, because I don't know if I could have sat in this cold for about 4 hours to wait till the first game started when the second game should have been started.
There goes Jansen to second. The throw down from Sloniger, well late. Now, Bruce, you and I, we've both been up here in this cozy press box. These fans were exposed out in the elements for a number of hours. We had March Madness on up here. We had
living the dream
snacks
up here.
And drinks, exactly.
Just a couple feet away, they were going through it.
Wrapped up in blankets and coats. 2 outs, man on second. 2-2 to Cole Mckenzie. Breaking ball right down the middle. Eric Mock with his 4th strikeout of the day, and the second time he's gotten Cole Mckenzie. This time a backwards K. As that ends Purdue's at-bats in the 3rd inning. To the 4th we go here on BTN to Go in just a bit. A pitching duel here at Alexander Field. Andrew Baum, the arm on the mound for Purdue. He's given up 5 hits so far, but he's worked around him nicely. And now he faces the top of the Penn State lineup in Gavin Homer and then Jordan Bowersox and Chris Kramer. First pitch to Homer misses out. Homer has had a great series at the plate so far for Penn State. So far today, 1 for 2 with a single and a deep fly out to left center. He was 2 for 3 with a double and a triple back in Game 1. He has made the best contact out of anybody in this Nittany Lion lineup. And remember, last at bat, he fouled a pitch off his foot and looked pretty shaken up for a sec, but was able to get back up and notch a ball through the middle of the infield and into center. One-two. Homer had to duck out of the way. That one, that was coming right for his melon. That's one of the worst misses we've seen from Andrew Baum here today. Baum looked like he might have had some accuracy problems at the start of the first, but like we said, he's settled in. Line drive, left center, in the gap, and it's down. Another base knock for Gavin Homer as he continues his excellent streak here in West Lafayette. His second multi-hit game of the series as he lofts one into left center.
Center fielder number 13, Jordan Bowersox.
Jordan Bowersox at the plate. Now he's 1 for 2. Sixth hit of the day for Penn State. But each time Penn State has tried to gain some momentum at the plate, Andrew Baum and this Purdue defense has had an answer. Remember that Penn State had runners on the corners with no outs a couple innings ago, and Zach Fascia threw out Chris Kramer at third base. And then Andrew Baum took care of Shea Sabranti and Connor Kleeman in order to finish off that inning. Baum to the plate. Another pitch out. Bowersox squared. Homer had a decent lead off first base. Fascia decided not to throw it down. It's the third pitch out that Coach Wazakowski and Purdue have called for here this game. He did not try that at all in game 1. Again, Bowersox squares and he went around. 1-1. Looks like Purdue's bunt defense will be tested here. Oilers will have Powers charging in from third. Penn State did not bunt at all in Friday's game. They've shown it a number of times here this afternoon. 1 ball and 1 strike to Bowersox, the best statistical hitter for Penn State, at .308 before today. He's already got a single. He's 1 for 2. 1 for 4 in Friday's action. Baum misses a bit high. Andrew Baum's last action came March 23rd against Northwestern. Got the loss, only gave up 1 earned run. Before that, he was handed a loss against Jacksonville, going 6 innings and giving up 3 earned runs. Struck out 7. The only game that Baum has pitched in that Purdue has won came all the way back on February 23rd against the 14th ranked Texas Longhorns. Fascia, good stop in front. In that game against Texas, Baum threw 5 innings, allowed only 1 hit and no runs, while striking out 5. That was the only game of that 4-game series against Texas that Purdue was able to come up with a win in. Because Purdue had a rough start to their non-conference season. 3-1 hitters count, but it's grounded foul by Jordan Bowersox.
Back to that rough start of Purdue's season, you know, like you said, like we talked about before, they were 5-14 the last time me and you called a game together, and you know, we talked about, you know, them just getting that one win that could really, you know, turn the season around, you know, get some momentum, build up the confidence of the team, and then they won 5 of their last 6 games, and you know, 9-16 now. So you definitely see the difference in the confidence between the players, and you know, I think they found what works for them now, and what's going to continue to work for this season. Is, like we said, they're 3-1 in the conference as well.
No doubt. And 2 series against teams in Northwestern last week and Penn State this week. 2 conference teams that struggled a little bit last year, maybe don't have as much depth as some other Big Ten teams. So a walk to Jordan Bowersox, and now it's Chris Kramer. Had an infield single his last time at the plate. Infield in a bit here with nobody out and 2 men on. As Baum almost picked off Gavin Homer. He was caught leaning, but able to slide back safely. Corners in near the grass with Kramer at the plate. The middle back at double play depth. Kramer, a .280 hitter for Penn State. Once again, the Nittany Lions with something brewing here. Now in the top of the 6th as Baum steps off. There is some action out in the Purdue bullpen. And now a mound visit as Coach Wazakowski heads out to talk to Andrew Baum. This could all be just to give the bullpen a little more time to warm up. Baum so far has gone 5 innings and allowed 6 hits, but no runs thus far. Could count as a quality start, certainly. Coach Wazakowski out there for Purdue has done a great job with this Purdue program. His 3rd year as head coach, hired back in June of 2016. Was an assistant coach at Oregon, Arizona, Florida, Southeast Missouri State before taking the Purdue job. Now it's Kramer. And a pickoff move. And again, Homer back in time. Meat of the lineup at the plate here for Penn State. With Homer and Bowersox leading things off here in the top of the 6th, a single, and then Bowersox with a walk. And now the 3-4-5 that Andrew Baum has to work through. First pitch, Kramer gets it down, but foul as Powers lets it roll just to the left of that foul line. And it's 0-1. Out in the bullpen for Purdue, it looks like number 36, Trent Johnson, out there getting warm. He did pitch Friday against Penn State, had 2 big strikeouts when he came in to pitch in relief of Patrick Smith in the 8th inning. Bomb to Kramer. Just misses out with a fastball. And it is the 36 jersey of the sophomore Trent Johnson out there getting warm. So we'll see how long Andrew Baum is able to stay in. Andrew Baum has already proved here this afternoon that he can work out of tough situations. He's got another one here in the 6th. 1-1 breaking ball. Fooled Kramer. And now Chris Kramer has to battle. Hendershot on deck. Sabranti in the hole. Baum trying to get that first out here in the 6th. One ball and 2 strikes, still nobody out. Kramer, a sophomore from Hershey, Pennsylvania, at the plate. His father, Ken, played in the Brewers organization in the minors. Kramer played in 21 games last year as a freshman. He's been one of the better bats for Penn State this year. 1-2 from Baum. Breaking ball. Ground ball to Albrecht. On to second. Howe to first. In time for the double play. A big 2 outs there for Andrew Baum and Purdue. As Albrecht made it over to Howe and then Everts for the 6-4-3 double play. And with a runner on third, it's the cleanup hitter for Penn State, Parker Hendershot. And we are going to get a pitching change here in the top of the 6th. Andrew Baum with a great start for Purdue, and he's going to get pulled in relief. Trent Johnson coming in for the Boilermakers. We'll get you the rest of the top of the 6th when we come back after the change on BTN to go. A big 2 outs earned by Andrew Baum and Purdue moments ago. But Andrew Baum has since left the game. Pitching changes the sophomore Trent Johnson into the game now for Purdue. Baum gave Purdue the start they needed here in game number 2 of the series against Penn State. Went 5 2/3 after the double play. Gave up 6 hits, no runs. For Andrew Baum up there on the mound, a great start for the redshirt sophomore out of Fishers, Indiana.
And what we saw Baum and this Purdue defense do is, something that you talked about before we went to break. Just as Penn State seems as though they're getting some momentum and get some runners on the bags, they find a way to stop them and just find the composure to bring it back. Now, granted, they have somebody on third base, but essentially got a double play when they could have been 3 runners, bases loaded.
Exactly. Not out of the woods yet, but a big 2 outs there induced by Andrew Baum, who finished the day with 6 strikeouts. Now it's Parker Hendershot against Trent Johnson. Johnson had 2 strikeouts in an inning of work against Penn State back on Friday. 2 big strikeouts with runners on. To Hendershot. That curveball just misses. It's 2-0. Hendershot was one of the strikeouts that Johnson had in that Friday matchup. Johnson able to get a curveball across and make it 2-1. Homer on third after he singled his way on, and then Bowersox walked And Kramer grounded into the double play. Great defensive work by Albrecht and Howe up the middle. Liner into right past Everton. Penn State takes the lead as Homer comes in to score. And Parker Hendershot, this time against Trent Johnson, gets his with a rope right past the first baseman Everts. And the silence is broken here in the 6th inning. Penn State with a 1-0 lead. That's Hendershot's second hit of the day. Shea Subranti at the plate now with 2 outs. Subranti takes a curveball for strike 1. Subranti struck out twice facing Andrew Baum. He's only had 1 hit this season, but hasn't seen that much action at the plate. Now he's got a 1-1 count. Johnson, a sophomore for Purdue, 6'2", 190. Native of Crawfordsville, Indiana. Back in high school, he was a 4-year letter winner in basketball and football, as well as baseball. The 1-1 fouled back by Subranti. Last year, Johnson was a selection for the Big Ten all-freshman team with 9 starts and 9 other appearances out of the pen. He had a nice 3-1 record and a lowly 1.76 ERA through 41 innings pitched. 39 strikeouts for Trent Johnson. One-two from the righty. Swung on and missed by Subranti, but Penn State grabs a 1-0 lead here in the 6th. A response for Purdue upcoming when we come back here on BTN to go. Penn State with a lead over Purdue, 1-0 here in the bottom of the 6th inning as Shea Subranti struck out to end the 6th, but right before that it was a base knock by Parker Hendershot that put Penn State up, bringing in Gavin Homer. A new arm on the mound now for the Nittany Lions as the starter Eric Mock being relieved by a freshman, Tyler Shingledecker, native of Huntersville, North Carolina. 6'3", 175 pounds. So far on the year, Shingledecker a 1-1 record of 4.00 ERA. This is his 10th appearance out of the bullpen for Penn State. And through 18 innings so far, he's accumulated 1 save along with 25 strikeouts and 12 walks. So Shingledecker, a lefty, takes the hill after Eric Mock leaves after 5 innings. A great stretch for Eric Mock. Only gave up 1 hit across those 5 innings, and he had 7 strikeouts. Coach Cooper opting to go to his bullpen here in the 6th after Penn State grabs a 1-run lead.
Left-hander number 36, Tyler Shingledecker.
Leading things off here for Purdue, Cole Mckenzie.
Number 32, Cole Mckenzie.
Cole Mckenzie struck out twice against Eric Mock. Had a rough day against the left-handed Dante Biazzi on Friday as well. Struck out twice against Biazzi. Mckenzie already with 4 strikeouts through 6 at-bats in this series. And the 3-hole hitter for Purdue goes down 0-1. One ball and 1 strike. Last game against Penn State back on Friday, Mckenzie had his on-base streak broken. Before Friday, he had reached in 18 straight games and had reached safely in 23 out of 24 games for Purdue. The only game that he did not reach base safely in, besides the game against Penn State back on Friday, was the win over 14th-ranked Texas back in February. Purdue won that game. Now Mckenzie will have to start a new streak. 2-2 against Shingledecker. Lefty on lefty, and it's a full count to Cole Mckenzie. Junior college transfer from Yakima Valley JUCO. The 3-2 fouled off as Mckenzie stays alive. So we had two stellar pitching performances by our two starters, but both didn't make it past 6 innings. Baum went 5 2/3, and Mock got yanked after 5 innings as Mckenzie thought it was ball 4. Instead, it's strike 3. He goes down looking for his 3rd strikeout of the day. Tyler Shingledecker off to a good start on the hill for Penn State here in the bottom of the 6th. And now it's Zach Fascia at the plate.
Number 7, Zach Fascia.
Coach Cooper for Penn State, no doubt wanting this lefty-on-lefty matchup for both Mckenzie and the left-handed Zach Fascia as he brought in the southpaw Tyler Shingledecker. Fascia squared, but that one was coming right at his chops. One ball and no strikes. Two up. And now Tyler Shingledecker, the freshman, struggling to find the strike zone a little bit. Here against Zach Fascia. It's a 3-0 count. Get me over fastball, and it's 3-1. So here's a hitter's count for Zach Fascia, junior for Purdue. Another one of the junior college transfers. That's a 5-pitch walk as Fascia takes a trip down to first. And there's a man on for Nick Everts. Second walk of the day for Zach Fascia.
Number 18, Nick Everts.
Everts was 1 for 3 in the last game against Penn State. A single and 2 strikeouts. Had an infield single, and he bunted as well to move a runner over. Purdue still with only 1 hit in this game. Maybe with the Penn State bullpen on the mound, Purdue will have better luck. After that foul ball. The wind has since died down here at Alexandra a little bit. It was blowing consistently earlier. Now the flags around the field are at more of a standstill. And if the sun's on you out there, it's not too bad. Still chilly here in West Lafayette, though. Shingledecker throws it right past Hendershot. Fascia to second, and maybe to third. He's on his horse all the way into 3, and Zach Fascia hustling from first to third on Shingledecker's overthrow.
And we talked a little bit before this at the beginning of the game, you know, with the weather and it being so cold, like you just mentioned, you know, errors and mistakes just might be the difference in the game. Is, you know, Purdue didn't really have any momentum, and now, you know, one error by Penn State, now they have a runner for a scoring position.
Defense had been good. That is the first error of the game, and let's see if Purdue can turn it into some runs here. Everts has a 1-1 count at the plate. He's 0 for 2 so far this afternoon. He's grounded into bunted into a fielder's choice and grounded out to shortstop. The infield is in on the grass with a slight shift towards the left side of the infield. And now we're going to get a quick talking to as skipper Rob Cooper comes out to the mound. There's some light activity in the bullpen for Penn State. And Cooper is going to take Shingledecker out of the game. After that mistake, the freshman reliever gets yanked. Is there, you see it. Around Hendershot it goes, and Fascia on his horse around second, speeding and chugging it into third, making it all the way to the left corner of the infield. Purdue in business when we come back here on BTN to go. 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. Mason Malott into the game for Penn State as he relieves Tyler Shingledecker after Shingledecker struck out Cole Mckenzie and then walked Zach Fascia and then overthrew him to first. So Fascia on third, 1 out, and Nick Everts at the plate for Purdue. The Boilers trying to equal the score at 1 as Everts squares, gets it down. Here comes Fascia, the squeeze in time, and Everts to first safely as well. Purdue tried a squeeze play on Friday. It didn't work. This time, Wazakowski gambles again, and it pays off. Everts gets it down the third base line. Fascia hustling and bustling from third. And we're tied at 1. Ryan Howe to the plate now with a man on first and 1 out. Off goes Everts. Howe swings and misses. That throw looks like it's in time, and they got him. Everts wiped off the base paths at second base. That might have been a hit and run put on by Coach Wazakowski. It is 0-1 to Ryan Howe. Two outs now as the Penn State infield retreats back to normal depth. Our first base umpire Tim Catton says no, Howe did not go around. The 1-1. Right across the outside edge. Good stuff by Mason Malott, the sophomore out of State College, Pennsylvania. Malott pitched on Friday as well against Purdue. Threw 2 innings in relief of Dante Biazzi. Only allowed 1 hit and no runs.
And he's a member of that strong pitching group that we said that Penn State has. He's second in the Big Ten with ERA for the season.
And Howe going down like he fouled it off his foot, but no call from our home plate umpire Tim Farwig. And that is out number 3. As Connor Kleeman over at third made the play to end the 6th. But Purdue ties it up at 1 after the squeeze play. To the 7th we go here on BTN to go. 1-1 here in the top of the 7th. Purdue and Penn State going at it. Here was the last play. Ryan Howe went down like he got hit, and that one, I don't know, Bruce. It looked close to his foot. Couldn't tell if it got him or not. He was ruled out as our home plate umpire Tim Farwig allowed play to continue. It was hard to tell from there if it just barely got his cleat or if it didn't. But either way, it was 3 outs in the bottom of the 6th, and now it's the top of 7 with Trent Johnson back on the hill for Purdue. Starting things off here for Penn State, Connor Kleeman. It's the 6, 7, 8 of the Penn State lineup. Kleeman, Sloniger, and Conlon Hughes. Kleeman 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout so far. His first time facing Trent Johnson here today. It's 1-0. One ball and one strike. Those of you following March Madness, Michigan State just held on to beat Duke 68-67. As, of course, everybody here in the press box paying attention to the game at hand, but the TV was on behind everybody, and everybody, including us, Bruce, we were turning around to check that game. Big Ten representing well in the tournament so far.
Well, if the Purdue Boilermakers couldn't make it, at least we had one representative from the Big Ten to make it. I'm sure that just killed a lot of people's brackets as well.
Oh, no doubt. There was a great sadness over Purdue last night and this morning after the loss to Virginia in overtime. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And down goes Connor Kleeman. Strikeout for Trent Johnson. As Kleeman strikes out for the 5th time this series. And there's one down for Ryan Sloniger.
The catcher number 11, Ryan Sloniger.
Sloniger 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk so far. So Penn State puts up 1 run in the top of the 6th after Parker Hendershot singled off of Johnson to bring in Gavin Homer, and then Purdue answered right back with a squeeze put on by Coach Wazikowski to bring in Zach Fascia with Nick Everts, the senior, bunting. One out for Sloniger. That one slices down the left field line. Powers heading back. Not quite enough range, and it's 0-2. Sloniger hitting below 200 on the year after including Friday's statistics, in which he went 0 for 4. 2 strikeouts and 2 flyouts. The 0-2 from the sophomore Johnson. Check swing from Sloniger. Did he go? And the third base umpire, Daniel Jimenez, says no. Sloniger held up his swing. And that was the foul ball. Ground ball foul. Last year with that 1.76 ERA for Trent Johnson, that was the 8th best ERA in a season in Purdue program history, and the 3rd best by a freshman. So Trent Johnson in some outstanding company with his efforts as just a first-year player. 1-2 to Ryan Sloniger. fouled back as the senior stays alive for Penn State. Also worth noting, Trent Johnson's 4.6 hits per 9 innings is the second best in Purdue program history as long as they've been keeping that statistic. So Johnson very effective both starting and out of the bullpen for Purdue last year. And he gets another strikeout here as Sloniger waves goodbye at that fastball. And there's 2 outs for Conlon Hughes. Hughes hitless thus far. 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a flyout.
Shortstop number 2, Conlon Hughes.
There's strike 1 from Johnson. Trent Johnson finding a bit of a groove here in the 7th inning after he gave up the lone run of the day for Penn State back in the 6th. There's Johnson. Up in the air, foul. It's 0-2. One thing you have to love about Trent Johnson is his ability to work ahead in counts and throw a lot of strikes. This is the 3rd batter this inning. And Johnson has had 2 strikes on. Another strikeout for Trent Johnson as Johnson finishes off the top of the 7th, putting away Conlon Hughes. 3 strikeouts for Trent Johnson in that 7th inning. 1-1, Purdue at the plate. Next on BTN to go. Zach Fascia to lead things off for Purdue in the bottom of the 7th inning. 3 strikeouts for Trent Johnson. And the Boilermakers back at the top of the 7th. 3 up, 3 down for the sophomore right-hander. Now it's Mason Malott back up on the hill for Penn State. So that one lands over near the Purdue dugout and out of play. 0-1 to Zach Fascia. Excuse me, Johnny Sage. Sage 0 for 1 so far. A walk and a ground out. Chilly day here at Alexander. Playing at just below 30 degrees in West Lafayette. As the wind picks up here a little bit again. 1 ball and 1 strike to Sage. Sage out of Spokane, Washington, back in high school playing 4 years of varsity football and 3 years of varsity basketball at West Valley High School. Very accomplished high school athlete. Flies that one back to left. Homer chasing after it and makes the basket catch. Gavin Homer running it down in deep left field to take a base hit away from Johnny Sage, and there's 1 away in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Third baseman number 2, Tyler Howard.
That is only the 2nd flyout to the outfield today that Purdue has hit. Almost everything has been on the ground in the infield or a strikeout. Tyler Powers up now. He is 2 ground outs, 1 to 3rd and 1 to 2nd. Last game, Powers was robbed of a base hit by Conlon Hughes at short, who leapt up, climbed the ladder, and made a beautiful grab on a line drive that almost went over his head.
A lot of room to work with out there, team.
Powers down 1-2. Powers, a sophomore. Played in a lot of games last year, earning some PT at second base. Helped turn 26 double plays last season as a freshman. Quick hands up the middle. We've seen action primarily at third this year, especially here in conference play. But he has played second, short, and third this season. 2-2. Flown up in the air. Could be trouble in right. Hippenhammer coming in to make the catch. Two outs for Evan Albrecht. Hippenhammer using that speed out in right field that he uses on the gridiron in the fall. Of course, a wide receiver for Penn State. That one might have been trouble for a slower right fielder, but no issue for Mac Hippenhammer and Penn State. Two outs for Mason Malott on the hill. This is out to Albrecht. Albrecht 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts so far. First time facing Mason Malott today. Albrecht drew a walk against Malott in Friday's matchup between these two teams. It was a 2-0. Grounder over to third. Kleeman is there. A hard throw across the diamond and a nice pick by Parker Hendershot going down to dig that out of the dirt. And that's 3 away for Mason Malott and Penn State as they'll have the bats when we come back here on BTN to go. A couple of huge defensive stands over the last couple innings from both teams. As in the top of the 8th, it was Trent Johnson in Purdue that was able to squirm out of a sticky situation, and then in the bottom of the 8th, Mason Malott, along with some help from his third baseman Connor Kleeman, kept Purdue off the board, and we are still tied at 1 here at Alexander Field in Game 2 of our Purdue-Penn State series here on BTN to go. Bo Hofstra into the game now for Purdue as Coach Wasikowski uses the same 3 pitchers that he did back on Friday. I guess I should say without the starters, he uses the same bullpen pairing with Johnson and Hofstra. But in similar fashion, as on Friday it was Patrick Smith, here on Sunday it's been Andrew Baum through the first 5 2/3, and then Trent Johnson, and now Bo Hofstra, the sophomore. Shea Sabranti at the plate for Penn State. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. And he swings through that one. 0-1. Hofstra in game 1 of the series through the 8th inning. Had 2 strikeouts. Picked up the save. Pitched in the 9th, rather. As he finished out that 1-0 win for Purdue. The 0-2 from Hofstra. Check swing from Sabranti. Shea Sabranti trying to avoid the golden sombrero, as they say in baseball, the rare 4 strikeout outing. Hofstra strikes out Sabranti. Bo Hofstra with a good start here to the top of the 9th inning. It's the 4th time that Sabranti has gone down swinging today. A tough day for him. Now it's Connor Kleeman. Kleeman not too much better. He's grounded out and struck out twice. 0 for 3. Hard ground ball foul. Hitting has been in high demand but low supply Two outstanding pitching performances from both Purdue and Penn State. One out here in the top of the ninth. As Hofstra blows that one right by Connor Kleeman. Hofstra up there at 6'5", 235. Out of Cherville, Indiana. The 0-2 gets Connor Kleeman. 2 strikeouts for Big Bo Hofstra as he's working his way right through this Penn State lineup. 2 outs in the top of the ninth. And it's Sloniger. He struck out twice today as well. 0 for 2 with a walk and 2 Ks. Penn State has struck out 13 times so far this game against the combination of Baum, Johnson, and now Hofstra. And Hofstra trying to get himself one more. The 0-1 to Sloniger. Swung on and missed. Hofstra trying to work through the side here for Purdue and get his team to the plate in the bottom. The 0-2 from the big righty. Fastball up and away. Last year, Hofstra had 49 strikeouts and 52 in the third innings pitched. Solid freshman year for Bo Hofstra. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and Sloniger stays alive. Still 1-2. Wonderful sunset and a beautiful sky here in West Lafayette. Sloniger hangs in there once again. If you didn't know any better and you weren't here at the game, you'd think it was a pleasant spring evening in central Indiana. Well, it's a little nippy out here. 1-2 from Big Bo.
Looked like that last foul ball almost hit one of our camera operators.
You got your head on a swivel down there. Line drive into left center, and it's down for a base hit. As Sloniger, a base knock with 2 outs as he hangs up around first with a 2-out single for Penn State. Brings up Conlon Hughes. That's Ryan Sloniger's first hit of this series. Hughes 0 for 3. 2 strikeouts and a flyout. That was the 8th hit of the day for Penn State. And now this one back to center. Hunter chasing underneath and makes the catch for out number 3. So Purdue with a chance to win it at home. When we come back, we're tied at 1 on BTN to go. Purdue with a chance to win it here at home. Starting things off in the bottom of the ninth, Ryan Howe, along with Milo Beam and Tyler Powers. It is the 6, 7, 8 of the Boilermaker lineup coming to the plate here in the bottom of the ninth inning against Mason Malott, who has been excellent here against Purdue. Malott ran into a little bit of trouble back in the 8th, but worked out of it expertly. They gave up a leadoff single to Skylar Hunter and then walked Owen Jansen to put runners on first and second. But then got Cole Mckenzie and Zach Fascia to pop up, and also got Nick Everts to line out, with his third baseman Connor Kleeman making an excellent diving play at the bag. So it's the freshman Ryan Howe at the plate, and he ropes one to left field. Howe around first. He'll stay there with a single. Second consecutive inning with a leadoff hit for Purdue. This time it's the freshman Ryan Howe. As Howe has 2 hits now in this game, and this is his second game this series with multiple hits. He had 3 on Friday. Now it's Milo Beam to the plate. Beam subbed in for Johnny Sage. Last inning in left field. And now Beam squares to bunt. Pulls back for ball 1.
Like you said, Mike, Ryan Howe, his second consecutive game with more than 1 hit. And you look at the stats, he has one of the lowest hitting averages on the team right now. So that's definitely going to be a confidence booster for him, and just like a reassurance to the coaches of his position out there.
Beam tried to paint one down the first base line, and that just trickles foul. 1-1. Beam has not seen a lot of action at the plate this year. Just 1 for 4 on the season. That's where that 250 average is. Two strikeouts and 1 walk along with that as he squares again. Lots of speed out of that left-handed box, though. As Malott checks on the freshman Ryan Howe. Howe on the year, a potential threat to steal, 2 for 3 in stolen bases. As the 1-1 is chipped downwards by Beam, and now it's 1-2. So decision time for Coach Wazakowski and Milo Beam, and looks like Coach Wazakowski might be signaling towards Milo Beam just to swing away. We have seen Coach Waz for Purdue before with players have them bunt with 2 strikes. The third baseman Kleeman still in on the grass. Beam squares and fouls it back, and he is out. Milo Beam unable to get one down. And there's 1 away to bring up Tyler Powers.
Third baseman number 2, Tyler Powers.
1 out and a man on first for Powers. He popped out in shallow right to Mac Hippenhammer his last time up. Fouls that one towards the Penn State dugout. Powers 0 for 3 so far with 2 ground outs and that fly out. Hitting below 200 on the year is Powers. Was at 235 last season as a freshman. Malott again checking on Howe. Mason Malott in his 3rd inning of work. Now time is called as Howe, it looks like, needs to adjust some equipment. Now is ready to go. A 1. Second pitch from the righty. Chopper towards third, and Kleeman touches that foul. 0-2 from Malott, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the sophomore Tyler Powers. A local kid, grew up here in Lafayette, just across the river. The 1-2. That's a grounder to the right side against the shift. Kramer able to get there and make the throw over in time to Hender's shot for out number 2. Looked like Powers tried to push that to the right side. Penn State had the shift on, playing Powers towards his pull side. And Kramer had to go over quite a ways to make that play, but make it he did indeed. And there's 2 outs and now a substitution as the redshirt freshman Patrick W. Smith will come up to the plate for Purdue.
Pitching for the Boilermakers, number 41, Patrick Smith.
Patrick J. Smith was the pitcher for Purdue back on Friday against Penn State. This is Patrick W. Smith, no relation.
Here you go.
Ground ball. And that's Kramer at second. And he makes the throw over to first in time for out number 3. To extras we go. 1-1 here on BTN. Purdue and Penn State, bonus action coming at you in just a bit. Extra innings here at Alexander. And some defensive changes here in the top of the 10th for Purdue. Tyler Powers moving over to shortstop. Evan Albrecht is out of the game for Purdue. And now Connor Tomasic is in at third base for the Boilermakers. Mac Hippenhammer at the plate for Penn State. He takes strike 1 from Bo Hofstra. 9 innings, not enough to settle it between Purdue and Penn State. A defensive struggle here in game 2 of the series, and Bo Hofstra heading the count 0-2 to Mac Hippenhammer. Hofstra gave up 1 hit back in the 9th inning, but struck out Shea Sabranti and Connor Kleeman. Then popped up Conlon Hughes. Not a bad pitch there from Hofstra, and it's 1-2. Ground ball. Tough one for Howe, and that's through the right side. As Howe had to stretch for it, and it barely snuck by his glove. Hippenhammer on first. Second hit of the day for Mac Hippenhammer. And Penn State has a very speedy leadoff runner on here in the top of the 10th inning.
Left fielder number 40, Gavin Homer.
And up comes the hottest bat in this lineup, Gavin Homer. He reached on an error made by Milo Beam out in left last time he was up. But he has yet to put a bad bat on a ball. And here he squares to bunt in the 10th inning. Trying to push it to the right side. A little too much juice on that one. First pitch of this game was originally supposed to be at 12 o'clock today at one point. And here we are, a little past 8. And a narrow miss outside by Bo Hofstra. That one close, but it's 1-1. Homer squares. Both teams have tried to bunt their runners around. Purdue did bunt a man in with a squeeze play. Still just 1-1. That one is popped up. Everett's unable to get there. 1-2 as Hofstra works ahead in the count. Interesting that Coach Cooper for Penn State opting to have Gavin Homer square to bunt. And he's been swinging it as well as he has been. A double and a triple in Friday's game and 2 singles here in this game. And 2 other hard hit balls. One was an error, one was caught. One-two delivery. Fastball for strike 3. As Bo Hofstra gets rid of the leadoff hitter for Penn State, Gavin Homer. And it brings up the batter in the 2 spot, Jordan Bowersox, with Mac Hippenhammer on first base.
Center fielder number 13, Jordan Bowersox.
Bowersox 1 for 3 so far with a walk and a single. One out here on the top of the 10th for Bowersox. And he watches a ball outside. Bowersox not noted for his power, but he does have a couple of homers on the year. A handful of doubles. 1-0 is nicked straight back. 1 ball and 1 strike. This upcoming week, Purdue has Indiana State at home. The Boilers will take on the Sycamores, and then Purdue travels to Lincoln to take on Nebraska next weekend. And then a midweek game against IU. Purdue played very well against the Hoosiers last year. And this is an IU team that many think can run right through the Big Ten again. Grounder up the middle. This could be 2. That's Powers. Howe to Everett at first, not in time. They get the lead runner, Mac Hippenhammer, at second, but Purdue unable to turn 2. As Everett wasn't sure if he pulled his foot or if the first base umpire, Tim Catton, just thought that Bowersox beat it out.
Second baseman number 23, Chris Kramer.
Looked like a tailor-made double play ball for Purdue. Instead, there's still a man on first, but now 2 outs for Chris Kramer, the 3-hole man. He walked his last time up. Takes a ball here. Kramer with 1 hit on the day. Flies that one up. This could be trouble. Shallow right coming in. Mckenzie makes the catch on the run. 3 outs as Hofstra gets out of the top of the 10th. Purdue again with a chance to win it when we come back here on BTN to Go. Nothing wrong with a little bonus baseball here at Alexander Field. Purdue and Penn State. Conference action here in the Big Ten. Teams have been locked at 1 since the 6th inning. We we've still been unable to determine a winner in this pitcher's duel. A new pitcher on the mound for Penn State now. It's the sophomore Kyle Verbitsky. And Skylar Hunter, the leadoff man at the plate for Purdue. He singled his last time up, but the Boilers were unable to bring him around. Hunter 1 for 3, a ground out, a fly out, a walk, and a single. Misses up and away. Verbitsky on the year, 1-0, a 3.21 ERA. This is his 8th appearance out of the pen for the Nittany Lions. So far, he's thrown 14 innings. Through those 14 innings, he has walked 11 but struck out 15. He's got 2 saves on the year as well. Big kid up there at 6'6", 235. Hunter fooled on that off speed. Nice work by Verbitsky. Full count. In high school, Verbitsky played football and basketball. And according to Prep Baseball Report, he was the 10th best prospect in Pennsylvania. 3-2. Chop to the right side. Coming in at second, Kramer. And he makes the play to out Hunter. And there's one away for Owen Jansen.
The DH number 1, Owen Jansen.
Verbitsky didn't just play football in high school, he was really good. First team all-league selection as a tight end and a defensive end. He looks like he could still suit up for Penn State out there at 6'6", 235. Here's Jansen. He pops up into easy left field. Homer has trouble finding it, and that one drops. Homer had no clue where it was. Conlon Hughes was racing back to try and help out his left fielder, but that falls in left field. And that will count as a base hit for Owen Jansen. Jansen smartly got all the way to second. That ball was in the air so long. And now we have a pinch runner.
Pinch runner for the Boilermakers at second base, number 20, Seth Gurley.
Seth Gurley pinch running for Purdue.
And coming to the plate for the Boilermakers.
Gurley, a freshman
Number 32, Cole
out of
Mckenzie.
Talmadge, Ohio. Hasn't seen much action this year.
Perfect time to make a big play.
This is the 11th game he's appeared in so far this season, and now it's Cole Mckenzie. If there's anybody on Purdue who is due at the plate, it is Mr. Mckenzie. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts and a flyout. And he takes strike 1. 1 out here in the bottom of the 10th inning. Purdue trying to clinch this series against Penn State. Nittany Lions trying to have something to hang their hat on when they head home tonight. Whatever time that may be. The 0-1. Right across the outside half of the plate. Verbitsky put it right there, and Mckenzie let it go by. Now the junior college transfer is going to have to battle up there in the lefty box against the big Verbitsky. The 0-2 from the righty. Gets away from Sloniger. And now Gurley at third. The winning run 90 feet away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Infield in for Penn State. We've seen Coach Wazakowski bunt with 2 strikes before this game. And now Coach Cooper out to talk with Verbitsky in the infield. 1 out. Purdue trying to move to 4-1 in conference play. As there you see, looked like that might have hit the front of the plate and got away from Sloniger. Sloniger hasn't had to make very many stops back there behind the dish so far today. Didn't really have a chance at that one. And now the smallest details can mean victory and defeat for both of these teams. Looks like Penn State is going to bring in an extra infielder. And Coach Cooper is going to make a, nope, not a substitution, just a glove change. Gavin Homer is coming in from left field, and he will play on the right side of the infield. So a 5-man infield here for Penn State. They've got 3 infielders on the right side between first and second, and 2 on the left. It's Mckenzie at the plate with a 1-2 count. Gurgley at third, representing the winning run. Just a freshman for Purdue. The 1-2 from Verbitsky. Popped up out of play as Mckenzie stays alive. Cole Mckenzie looking for his first base hit of the series so far. He'll take it any way he can get it. Anything to do to bring that winning run in from third. We'll try the 1-2 again. And Mckenzie just chips that straight down. Cole Mckenzie, the junior, a Montana native. They didn't have high school baseball in his state, so he played Legion ball growing up. That's how he got his reps. 1-2 again. A miss high. Fascia on deck for Purdue. Awaiting his turn if Mckenzie can't get it done. No doubt Cole Mckenzie wants it to be him, though, as Gurgley plays games on third base. 2-2. And again, Cole Mckenzie hanging in there. We've waited about 5 extra hours and 1 extra inning for the conclusion of this game that was supposed to start at 12 o'clock today. Verbitsky to the plate. That one lofted into shallow right field. And the catch is made, but Gurgley coming in from third. The throw to the plate, not in time! Cole Mckenzie getting it done with a sac fly to shallow right. Hippenhammer made the catch. But Purdue walks it off thanks to Cole Mckenzie. Gurgley coming in to score 2-1, the final after 10 innings here at Alexander.